All right. Welcome to our virtual CCEC meeting. If you lose connection at any point during the meeting, you can reconnect by clicking the link or calling the number in your original email. Members of the committee, if you're able, please activate your video and keep it on for the duration. Staff, if you're able, please activate your video when you're speaking. All committee members are unable to mute themselves. Please use the raise hand feature when you'd like to be recognized to speak, ask questions, or request a roll call vote. Staff, please use the raise hand feature when you're asked a question. The chair will do their best to call on committee members in the order in which hands are raised. Lowering your hand will take you out of the queue. There are no members of the public present or registered to speak. So Alder Badar, floor is back to you.
Thank you. Lisa, if you wouldn't mind doing the roll call, please.
Sure. Alder Carter is excused right now. Alder Abbas is excused. Alder Harrington McKinney.
Present.
Alder Skidmore.
Here.
Alder Hennick.
Present.
Alder Tierney.
Present.
Alder Campbell.
Here.
And Alder Bidar.
Here.
We have a quorum present.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Our next item is approval of minutes. The approval of minutes of the November 17, 2020 Common Council Executive Committee meeting. I could have a motion.
Move approval.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Are there any comments about or changes to the minutes? Seeing none, if okay with everybody, we can then register a unanimous vote. Okay, meeting's approved unanimously. Next is public comment. Do we have anybody registered for public comment?
We do not.
Thank you. Disclosures and recusals. Are there any disclosures and recusals from any members of the body? Seeing none, we'll move to agenda item number 5, which is Legistar 62393, which is a substitute directing city staff to address encampments in the city parks and to investigate other temporary housing options for the unsheltered homeless population. Can I first have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Is there Alder Hennick?
He's got his hand raised. Yep.
Yeah, you can unmute your Alder Hennick. Is that this? We can't hear you.
Second.
Thank you. So we have a motion and a second, and we can start with questions of staff. Are there any questions for staff? I see no hands raised. So discussion. So Alder Hennick, would you like to start since you're one of the...
Absolutely. So this piece of legislation started several months back when we started looking at the emergency order number 2 this fall and started to see consolidation of temporary permitted encampments within and the ordinance and without outside of the ordinance. And so what I was looking at is this disconnect between we have an emergency order that's allowing for temporary permitted encampments in certain parks within certain recommended areas. So they had to have certain qualifications. But then we were also seeing encampments popping up outside of those recommended areas. And I didn't see the city going about it as either moving to permitted encampments or expanding that TPE program to include some of those other areas. And so the primary goal of this was to clarify some of that and to really get the discussion going about how are we focusing on housing people? Because I know that, first of all, I also want to say that I have been super impressed with our CDD staff on their initiatives and efforts and work towards housing folks. And this has kind of been you saw a number of budgetary amendments that were also supporting this work. And getting it to the discussion stage and the policy stage of, okay, so what is our policy moving forward, and how are we looking at this on a broader scale to make sure that we're communicating not only with alders but the public of what the plans are for the future of temporary permitted encampments, as well as how to get people housed and what different avenues are being taken to do that, what some of the challenges are that staff are running into in order to make that happen. So that's the reporting portion of it, and really get that conversation on the table. One of the aspects is also when we're looking at offering housing to people, what some of the challenges are too of if there's available beds, why aren't those being occupied? Why are people not wanting to take those? And looking at the different barriers that people are experiencing. And Alder Balde was the initial sponsor of this piece of legislation. And I thought that it was a conversation that needed to be had. And so tried to work on it with him. So that's kind of some of the history. And the initial got a lot of pushback, as rightfully so. And I think the substitute really tried to take a lot of that feedback and put it into a much improved proposal. I'd be happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Alder Hanek. And I saw, Mr. O'Keefe, you had your hand up. Would you like to take an opportunity to provide an overview from your perspective? Was that, or did you not want to have your hand up?
I did, Alder. Thank you, Alder Bedar. I did raise my hand as there were no questions to staff. I just wanted to point out that there was an error in Legistar, the reporting out of the action of the Community Development Block Grant Committee should have noted that that committee went on record in opposition to the substitute. Did not act. There was some confusion about whether they needed to act on a larger resolution, but it did vote 5-1 against the substitute, and I just wanted to make sure that information was corrected for this committee.
Thank you, Mr. O'Keefe.
And
Alder Hanek.
Yep, if I may, I just wanted to say, I think when I was looking in Legistar, it looked like the results from the Parks Commission, the substitute going to the Parks Commission and CDBG, neither of those were posted. So it looks like what got pulled was the referral votes from the initial, because both CDBG and Parks Commission initially referred it to the next meeting, and those were both approved. Parks approved it unanimously, and CDBG did not approve it.
Thank you, Alder Hanek. The current Legistar, it has been corrected in my looking at it with the results. Thank you. Alder Harrington-McKinney.
Thank you. That was my question, is to make sure that there was some clarity in terms of what was going to be before us and what was in Legistar. And I think that has been updated. Is that correct, Jim? Okay.
I think it is, yes.
Okay. And do you have any additional comments related to that? I just want to make sure that you did not have any additional comments.
Well, with respect to the record, Alder Hanek is correct that the Parks Commission did recommend approval of the substitute, not the original resolution, but the substitute. And the CDBG committee recommended against adopting the substitute.
And I must admit that just additional question as a follow-up, I must admit that it's probably, I could read it, but could you speak to why they were against it in a couple of 2 seconds, a summary?
So I think at the end of the day, the CDBG committee responding to the substitute was of a mind very much like the other committees that took up this measure, though they did not deal with the substitute. But I think they believe that though the TPE policy, the executive order, was an imperfect solution, that it was preferable to actions to try to remove people who are in camping in parks.
Thank you.
Thank you. I see President Carter. I see you join us. You were on mute.
Yeah, I'm here now. Where are you on the agenda? Sorry about that.
We are on item number 5, and there's a motion on the floor to approve. A motion by Alder Harrington McKinney and seconded by Alder Hanek, and we're in discussion.
Okay, thank you.
Alder Campbell is next, and then I'll let you.
Yeah, you can finish out 5. Go ahead, Shiva.
Oh, thank you. Alder Campbell?
Yeah, thank you. I will be voting against this. I appreciate, that the sponsors heard some of the criticisms and removed and changed some of the language, but I don't think this is necessary. I think, in the finally resolved clause, frankly, is kind of insulting to staff who have been working for months and months and months on this issue, and they don't need a resolution telling them to, write us a report. They have been, anyone who wants to can contact Jim or Lynette and get that information. And, instead of having them take up their time, which is in such demand, actually dealing with the issues to, pull together a report for us. I don't think we really need that to be written out in a resolution. If we ask for information, they always give it to us. And the second to last, the new clause that talks about once an individual has been offered an alternate legal housing option, they will no longer be able to utilize a TPE site, is also really objectionable to me, because there are a lot of reasons why people can't use certain housing options. Some of that is because of their companion animals. Some of that is because they don't want to be separated from their partner. I mean, there are a lot of really legitimate reasons why people who would, if they found the right kind of housing, not just any legal housing, but the kind of housing that actually addressed their needs, they would go into housing. And it's not like people are camping because they love camping. People are camping because there aren't the right options out there for them, and we shouldn't penalize people. If we're making these TPE sites available, we shouldn't be banning people just because they're unwilling to, part with maybe some of the only comfort they have in life, which might be a pet or a partner. So I will be voting no on this item for those reasons.
Thank you, Alder Campbell. Do we have any other comments?
I just have a quick comment. Jim, can you tell me, with these park encampments, are there any kind of, for lack of a better word, security at these encampments through the night? Security is probably the wrong word, but some kind of monitoring system. After all, we've had a tragic death in one of them, so I'm just wondering, what are we doing at night?
Alder Carter, there is not structured security outside of the normal monitoring that would occur through the Madison Police.
Okay, thank you.
there any other comments? If okay by the body, I would like to make a comment. I see no other hands raised, so I will. I am also not going to be supporting this resolution. As one of the elders that serves on community services, I have certainly been well aware of the enormous amount of work that CDD is doing around very intentionally working on funding that tries to connect people with permanent housing, which is the subject of the first bid resolve clause right now, which again seems to simply reiterate a priority that has been a long time priority of our CDD staff. I also cannot support the idea that if somebody is offered housing, that they will no longer be allowed in TPE. I also cannot imagine how we would even be going about enforcing that. Would people get some kind of like you've been offered, like here's how we know that you have been offered. So I think it has a lot of also even complexities of that I think does not account and understand the fluidity of individuals who are living in housing insecurity situation and find themselves with the only choice of really living in encampments. So I will now be supporting it. And I also think that given where we are in our current state in the pandemic and the lack of potential additional support for eviction prevention, or at least the unknown future of that, and the winter upon us, that it really is a kind of message that I don't think reflects the empathy and ability for us to really reflect and understand the hardship of others in our community. Thank you. Going back to facilitating, any other comments? Alder Hennick.
Thank you. So just to kind of highlight one other aspect. Currently, it is illegal to camp in any of the parks other than the TPE sites. So I have asked other alders if people would support increasing the TPE program in order to include these. But right now, we're basically saying to people, you can camp here under the radar. It's still illegal. You can get kicked out at any time for any reason because it's illegal. And if we want to change that to say, hey, here's the areas that people can camp in, or people can camp in all of our parks, let's have that conversation. But right now, we're basically forcing people to live illegally, and that doesn't work very well for me. I don't agree with that, and I think that it's really frustrating for people. And when we look at staff, I think that in talking about being able to call Lynette or Jim and understand what's going on, I think you're absolutely correct that you can call Jim and Lynette and you can have a conversation. But in many of our other departments, we require policies, and that's what we are as policymakers, and that's what we talk about, and that's what we try and figure out is what's actually happening in the city and what our policy is and how we're moving things forward. And I've heard from many people that, we have a plan for moving forwards and a plan for addressing these issues. But when we look at the past 3 months, we really haven't seen a change. And I keep getting told that, we're going to see a change in the next 2 weeks or in the next month. And it's very difficult, whether alders or for me to talk to my residents and say, look, this is what the city's doing. it's really hard to get that information and be able to present it to people. So that's kind of the baseline that I was looking at.
Thank you, Alder Hanek. Any others that would like to speak on this item? I see none. I think I will go ahead and request a roll call on this item. Lisa?
Okay, Alder Carter.
Can you come back to me?
Sure. Alder Harrington McKinney.
Just a reminder, you can unmute yourselves.
Yes.
Alder Skidmore.
Aye.
Alder Hanek.
Aye.
Alder Tierney. Alder Kemble.
No.
Alder Bidar.
No.
Alder Carter.
Abstain.
Motion fails on a 3-1 vote.
Thank you. That motion fails. Alder Carter, I will turn it to you for item number 6, or would you like me to?
Yeah, you can go ahead, Shiva. Thank you.
Thank you. So item number 6 is, sorry, it's going down. It's a legislature number 62930, a resolution authorizing the placement of an advisory referendum questions related to the structure of the city government on the spring 2021 general election ballot. And I believe we had received information about the potential referral, so I'll take a motion at this time. Alder Kimball?
I'd like to move adoption, and if I get a second, I can talk about the potential referral.
Do I have a second? I see no hands raised for a second. That motion fails for lack of second. Do I have Alder Harrington McKinney?
I would like to move that item number 62930 be referred to the January Common Council meeting.
Alder Harrington McKinney to the January CCC and then Common.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion by Alder Harrington McKinney and second by Alder Carter. Alder Campbell.
I'm fine if we refer it. I just don't think we need to. So the question of referral came up earlier today by City Attorney Strange in reference to our council meeting this evening, where we expect to go long and late because of a massive amount of public testimony that's expected. And so he asked the sponsors if we would be willing to refer this to the January 5th council meeting, and we all said yes. But that doesn't mean that CCEC can't take it up now. So the whole question of referral, it's not like we're waiting for more information. There's more work being done on it. There's the item, and then there's an alternate by Alder McKinney. And I don't see any reason why we couldn't debate and make a decision on it today instead of pushing it out another month, because again, the only reason for referral is time crunch at council meeting, not time crunch at this meeting. It's only 4:58 right now, and I feel like we could have time to discuss it, but I won't oppose a referral either.
Alder Harrington McKinney.
Thank you. The reason that I did not support, the alder said approval, and so I was confused about that part of it. And so in order to have clarity, I would rather have the entire package referred to the Common Council so that, the Common Council Executive Committee so that we could have a full, thorough, and transparent discussion. So the language of the motion sort of confused me.
Thank you, Alder Harrington McKinney. So the motion on the floor is a motion for referral. I see no other hands. So referral for the January 5th CCEC followed by the council meeting of January 5th. We can record a unanimous vote unless I see any hands raised. I see no hands raised, so we will record a unanimous vote for referral. And that should get us to future agenda items list that is before you. And then a favorite motion of all. Anybody would like to make a motion for adjournment? Alder Carter, you're on mute, but I can see that. I can tell you made the motion. So, Alder Carter, did you make the motion? Yes. Okay. Alder Hennick, was that a second?
Second, yes.
Thank you. So a motion by Alder Carter, second by Alder Hennick for adjournment. We will record a unanimous vote for a motion to adjourn unless I see any hands raised, which I don't. So we're adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Bye, everybody.